Data import and export is a very complex process and might require many iterations before you get it right. Let's look at the overall process to understand the steps involved and how you can plan to do a successful data import or export. The very first thing you need to do is to determine the entities to migrate from source. As part of this, you should understand the data in your existing system and, if necessary, clean up that data to purge or archive data that is no longer required. You can also cleanse the data to remove any duplicates or even invalid data. This is also a good opportunity to determine at a high level how the entities in the source map to the entities in the destination. Depending on the entity, you may be able to use one of the many out-of-the-box entities that are part of AX. If you do not find the corresponding entity in AX for the entity you're trying to import, you may need to develop a custom entity within AX. Next, you need to define the source data format for the data you want to import or export. For instance, your source data format could be a CSV file, it could be an XML file, or an ODBC source such as SQL Server or Microsoft Excel. It could even be another instance of AX. Next, you need to determine the entities that should be processed together. Entities that are processed together should be part of the same processing group. Decide to group entities together if they either need to be processed together or if they need to be processed in a specific order. Then create a new processing group and add the entities that need to be processed to this group. You may need to create custom entities if the out-of-the-box entities do not meet your needs. Then, for each of the entities in the processing group, set up the source to staging mapping. And then the last step before you can do the actual import or export is to set up the staging to target mapping. When you set this up, you can modify things like the order in which the field is processed, or whether the validate field or modified field methods are called, and so on. Once you've completed this, you can then test out the migration from the processing groups.